Hello and welcome to episode 5 of Enchanted by English. You'll notice we have a guest presenter, which we're very excited about. But before we kick things off, I'd just like to introduce ourselves once more. I am Sara. This is Becky Glover.
Hello.
And over there we have
Hi.
Victoria Bub.
I'm Victoria, or as these lovely ladies know me as Tori, or you might know me on Instagram as @thewinebub. So I'm here lining up lots of glasses for these ladies today.
We're very excited to kick things off.
It's all very gold.
It is, yeah.
It's a great word for it.
Yeah, it
I
is.
like that.
It's very pure gold in front of us. We're keen to kick things off, but first we're going to do the wine news.
Insert jingle here.
Yeah, anyway. So I'll kick things off today. I saw that Matthew Jukes reviewed Stopham's Pinot Blanc this week for an article.
Nice.
And his little review goes something along these lines. There is an intensity of flavour here with a lightness of touch and a degree of dynamism. That is...
Of what?
Dynamism.
Wow, okay.
That is electrifying. So
they're multiplying.
we did say, does that mean he liked it? But
don't you just love wine reviews like
sometimes
that? Where
it can be a bit wordy.
Now I know exactly what it tastes like.
Yeah.
Thanks for that review.
Exactly. It sounds like it's going to be an electric shock in the mouth, but
is that good or not?
Exactly.
Is it a drink or is it an experience?
Yeah. Anyway, he makes it sound really exciting, and you should definitely try it for yourself.
Which wine was that?
Stopham Pinot Blanc.
Great.
It is
Adding
lovely.
it to the list.
It's super complex. It's really aromatic and fresh and fruity and delicious. So that's my easier to understand review. Sorry, Matthew. A couple other things from me. My latest Essex Life magazine article is out. It's all about women in Essex wine. So if you live in Essex, grab yourself a copy, give that a read. It's really interesting.
If you say so yourself.
Our winefluencer says so herself.
It's really interesting. I wrote it.
Look, there's a lot of wonderful women in Essex
as Becky
wine.
always says, clap for yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks. What are you putting me down for? Lift me up.
I wasn't putting you down. It was just the way you said it. So give it a read. Yeah, it's really interesting. So
I back it up. It's great.
It's a superb article. Some of the finest writing you'll ever come across. Anyway, moving on. One more thing from me. We've got a new case that I've added to the website. It's called the English Explorers case, which I haven't actually told you about yet. But it's got 3 whites,
we
3
can all
reds.
explore together.
Well, this was, I gave myself a little challenge. I wrote down some words and I was like, I'm going to find 1 rich white, 1 aromatic white, 1 creamy white, a juicy red, a spicy red, and a savoury red.
Oh, the potential of
I
England.
know. Okay, I know, exactly. There's a lot going on. So this is a
like
really diverse case. It's going to take you through lots of different styles of wines. I won't tell you exactly what's in it. You have to go to the website to find that out for yourself. It's called the English Explorers case, and it will be on the homepage because it will be new. So that's exciting.
Very exciting. Can't wait to see what's in it myself.
Yes, well, there you go. Anything from you for the wine news this week?
Just that it was National Drink Wine Day.
Oh, it was.
Isn't it
And
that
did
day
you drink
every day?
wine on National Drink
Not
Wine?
that day.
I don't think I did either.
Because it was
What day was
was it
it?
like a Tuesday or something? Anyway, it's midweek, and it's oh, hope everyone's drinking wine. You're like, well, I do have to get up early tomorrow.
Oh, I still managed it.
I'm gonna make up for it right now. So yeah, it's gonna be drink wine.
Drink wine Saturday.
Yeah, I don't drink so much during the week, but at the weekend.
Oh yeah.
Yes,
for sure.
Enchanted
Love it.
by English topped up my wine consumption. What about you, Tori? What have
You said that today I might outwine you. I didn't think you expected me to do it in quantity.
You've already done it.
Yeah.
We've not even started.
Tick, I can go home now. Okay, so I came across on Instagram that Wine Garden of England have just announced that they're doing a little summer party kind of thing.
Oh,
So it's not until June, but I think the tickets are available now. And they're basically bringing in a load of English wine producers, I think mostly producers in Kent.
Mm-hmm.
And to anybody, not just trade, for £20, You can go over, they're hosting it at Balfour Winery. You can go over, taste lots of English wines. I think they're going to get in some like local artisan food producers and all that kind of jazz. So definitely head over to @Wine Garden of England and have a look at that. And we're still waiting for our invitation in the post.
Sure, it's coming.
Also, on that note, it is the time of year where all our lovely English vineyards are hoping to see some bud burst within the next couple of months.
Yes.
So they're starting to think about tours. They're all starting to go online. So if you're thinking about those spring and summer plans already, I mean, it's not a very nice day out there today, but you know,
gloomy.
the daffodils are showing in some places, so fingers crossed. If you're starting to think about that, take a look at some tours and try and get yourself to an English vineyard this year, especially if you haven't been before, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Gosh,
100%.
I forget that those kind of people don't exist. Like, you know,
People
like,
that don't know,
Yeah.
I know.
I think everyone's been to an English vineyard.
Yeah.
I know, right?
Go down and there's still so
Something
many people
that I've discovered is when you meet people and you ask them, how do you feel about English wine, or do you drink English wine? If you ask them the question first, where do you live? You can work out the answer to that question.
Yes, exactly.
If they are Sussex, Hampshire, maybe Essex, you know, this kind of area, they're like 100% love it. It's great. You speak to someone from further north or from those other regions like where they're not producing, they go, English wine?
Yeah.
Is that a thing?
It's so true, actually.
Our orders on the website
Yes.
are like predominantly London and southeast.
Yes.
We're always shipping to like the same sorts of areas, and it's obviously just because they're a bit more aware
Of
that
course,
the wine is good and it's out there.
Yeah.
Because they've got, you know, vineyards on their doorstep or whatever. So people need to go to a vineyard.
They
and
definitely do.
discover how brilliant it is.
I actually read something that, I didn't write it down. It was something about the largest amount of English wine sales are still at cellar door.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
And, you know, I do think it's so true because it's about that connection, that experience. You see the vineyard, you meet the people, and you want to drink that wine.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm taking that home with me.
Yeah.
I would love to know, so largest amount of sales from cellar door. I would love to know when that cellar door sale takes place. Like, is it straight?
Is it on tours? Yeah.
Yes.
And I wonder how many of that is repeat sales though, right?
That's exactly
so like
the
you go
point.
somewhere, you buy a case, you finish the case, and you're like, oh, let's get another one.
Yeah.
I hope that that's what people are doing.
Yes.
Also exciting, I've seen a few bits on Instagram this week. It is the time of year where the fermentation is coming to an end and people are starting to blend their wines. I've seen lots of like pictures of cloudy wines and glasses floating about my Instagram.
Lots of pretty colours, rosés.
The rosés, So I think there's a couple of vineyards that are actually doing like blending experiences.
Yeah.
Balfour.
That's
one
the one.
of them. And Bluebell's another that
so yeah, if you are a bit more that way inclined and you're super into your wine, get involved. Go along to those things. Find out what's happening. You know, I mean, even us as people with relative levels of wine knowledge, I've never seen blending. Have you?
Certainly never done it. I would be fascinated to be like a little bit of this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great.
I'll buy a bottle.
Yeah, we'll buy a token bottle of your blend, Becky.
It's really kind of you to support.
I know. And also on that note of getting out to vineyards, Mother's Day is coming up. Is it next week?
It's the 19th of March.
A couple of weeks away. But everything is getting booked up. I know a few vineyards are hosting certain things, like afternoon teas with English sparkling wine. I mean, living the dream. One that I saw was Crouch Ridge, which is not far from here, I believe. But get searching because I'm sure there are lots of places doing lovely Mother's Day things. So
there are. And
make sure you do something English, please.
We've got free gift wrap and free gift messages for all our mums. So any gifts that you want to send direct to mum or not, or to yourself, we're including free gift wrap and free gift message. Yeah, exactly. Why not? So free gift message, exactly. Sometimes it's nice to open a present yourself.
We do get some people writing gift notes to themselves.
Yeah.
Like, to me, from me. It's incredible. It's like, yes, I'm here.
Go on.
Okay.
Why not?
Okay, guys, I can't wait any
I'm
longer.
smelling it. Like, oh.
I went rogue.
Oh, you did?
So I planned out this tasting. I wrote down my notes. I had the wines organised. Then on the way here, I was listening to episode 3.
Oh, yeah.
Decanting.
No,
Champagne
champagne
versus
versus English sparkling wine.
wine.
I'm sorry, I did them all out of order, but I was
It's
listening
fine.
to that on the way here, the finish of it. And
Ooh.
hearing you talk, I was inspired.
Oh, my God.
And I heard you saying how difficult it is because you can't compare champagne versus English
Yes,
sparkling
it
wine,
is.
especially if you know the price,
Mhm.
especially if you know the vintage, especially if you know the brand and where they're from and whatever.
Yeah.
So if you pick up your first glass, you will have this one
0.
and Sarah's this
Okay.
one.
0.
I didn't put numbers on because it's my rogue wine.
Okay.
Um,
So it's a
you
sparkling
have a
wine.
sparkling wine, and
Okay.
it's not about trying to guess what it is. It's to give you guys an opportunity that we don't get very often.
Yes.
Is to try a wine without a biased influence of what it could be or where it could be from.
It's intense.
It's English.
I didn't say that.
Oh.
Oh my god, is it?
So,
Come on.
just
really
following
intense,
on
isn't
from
it?
that episode,
It smells really appley to me. Yeah, go on.
definitely. Just following on from that episode, I have thoughts.
Okay.
I wish I could have been here because I
Yes,
wanted to
sure.
like
Oh yeah. please do.
contribute.
Oh.
When you were telling me like you were on the phone
Yeah,
to
when-
me, that's how I feel when I listen to this
That's
podcast.
so nice. You're not the first person to say
I
that.
pop
love
my
that.
headphones in, I go for a little walk, and it's like I'm on the phone to be used to. So that's why I was like, can I come and actually sit with you?
Tell us your thoughts.
I was so offended by the idea that Dom Perignon
yeah.
produced 5 million
Yeah,
bottles.
Yeah, I know.
And how many do they make in the UK?
So basically 5 million is the whole of
The
the
whole
UK.
of the UK.
Yeah.
They're selling that for
I know,
£200 a bottle minimum.
It is
Yeah,
offensive.
Minimum.
Plus, yeah.
I was like, what?
I
Do you feel
know.
like you've been duped? 'Cause
I
felt
feel like I've been
duped.
cheated a
Like,
little
yeah.
bit.
I was the moron. They were laughing at me.
I was going to
Yeah.
Oh.
when I went to Tesco, I went down the wine
Oh,
aisle and I
yeah.
just like glanced at the champagnes on the shelf. There are some in there for £45.
In Tesco.
Yeah, so
Not
they're
even
they're
wine
only going to
merchants.
be your Billy Basics
Yeah.
champagnes,
Oh,
I
okay.
get
and they're
silly.
£45. Yeah, but these are made in the
Yeah.
cabillions,
Yeah.
like more than Dom Perignon, the
It's
ones
so
that you can get in
sad.
Tesco.
Why is it so much more expensive is what I'm trying to understand.
So this
I
is
used
the thing.
to understand because it was like the land is super expensive and like things like that. But
No.
the English land is super expensive. Have you tried to
Exactly.
buy anything in the UK recently? I can't even
Yes.
afford a cucumber.
You're allowed to buy one.
Only one tomato each, guys.
So it's just crazy that it's so much more expensive.
Yeah, and so they say that it's because it's so scarce.
But
Clearly, it's not.
we've just
too
proved this
bad.
point about
Yeah.
numbers.
It's not.
that
It's not
doesn't
scarce
apply.
at all.
Um,
And it's only vintages. Hang on, most English sparklings are only vintages.
Yeah,
It
most
makes-
people are not making
it makes no
non-vintage.
sense. So on that note, I was like, right, we're going to open some sparkling and make our own opinion.
Oh my
Oh my
god.
So feel free to have a sip while I chat
Okay.
along.
Can we?
Don't-
What are we doing with the other ones?
Don't
Or
worry
is
for
this
me.
not to
We're
be
going to do those
concerned about?
after.
Okay.
We're going to do those after. We'll do that a little bit more side by side.
Now
So
it's champagne.
this is. What do we think? Do we?
I don't think it's as high acidity as English.
Yeah, I to smell it, I was like, oh, English. But now I've
But
tasted it. I'm
but
like, oh,
are we
champagne.
barking up the wrong tree
I
here?
know.
I like it. So I really hope it's not
But
that.
I really like the point that you just made though, because a lot of people often think of English and go, "Oh my god, but they're so acidic."
Hmm.
I'm gonna let the cat out of the bag here. It is English,
Ah,
and you've
okay.
just said
Oh.
that it doesn't have that searing acidity.
Interesting. No, it
Because
doesn't.
they don't. There are a few of them that are slightly higher. They are slightly fresher, but the people who are making them well balance them. And it's all about the balance. It's not about just the level of
So
acidity.
interesting.
Yeah.
For those of people who are listening, does anybody want to describe what they can see in their glass? I mean, Becky mentioned rose of gold when she
Oh, yeah.
walks in.
It's like a deep colour, isn't it? It's lovely.
Is it a Blanc de Noir?
I don't think
No.
so.
Okay.
It's got fine bubbles. I mean, it's
Must
obviously
be
been poured for a
heavy
little,
on me.
a few minutes, but it's got some really nice, delicate bubbles.
It's got
I love
those
the colour.
champagne bubbles.
Yeah.
If I dare say so. So for those of you that don't know, basically when a sparkling wine is made in the traditional method, the champagne method, which you guys were explaining on your previous show, they tend to, the bubbles release slower. You get this slow, steady, gentle stream of bubbles. Whereas in a Prosecco has quite aggressive bubbles.
Yeah.
They're super vibrant. They're there, bit like a can of Coke, but then they dissipate really quickly. In something like an aged sparkling wine, they will last much
I feel
longer.
like this has got age. This has definitely got age.
Ah.
Hence the colour, hence the flavour.
Yeah. Okay.
And hence the gentle bubbles.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's got a fairly high percentage of Chardonnay in it.
Oh, do you?
Oh, I apologise.
okay.
I'm doing my little slurpy, and I've got the microphone right here, so sorry for anybody who heard
Like,
that.
what is that?
She's just drinking wine, don't worry.
I think this is like a £45 bottle. Like, it tastes like quality to me. It tastes like they've put some good years into this.
Do you think you've had this wine before? Yeah?
We
Do
must
you know,
have
it's
done.
giving me Night Timber vibes, but like
is
the
it?
1086
Tick,
type.
tick.
Oh wow! Well done.
No.
Uh-huh. You
Oh my
have.
God.
You
Well
have
done.
a glass of
Ah!
See, higher Chardonnay, which Night Timber are known for.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, I
Okay.
believe you guys probably know more about this wine than I do, to be honest. It's a non-vintage, right?
Yes.
So they
Yes.
call it multi-vintage. I
They
believe,
do,
don't
yeah.
they?
So that's why you're getting that age that
Yeah.
you mentioned, that complexity.
Right.
And I know
This
a lot
is
of people
so
think of
interesting.
people who are into English wine think of Night Timber and think, oh God, that's the big one. You know, like people who are super into it, they're a bit prejudiced about it.
Oh, I
Like,
still enjoy it.
I like it.
some people have sort of gone full journey and they've
interesting.
gone past Night Timber. Do you know what I mean? But they've been doing it a little bit longer than most of the other English sparkling wine producers. So they have the advantage of those reserves to make these non-vintage more like a champagne house would.
Yeah.
So when people say to me, English sparkling wine is not as good as champagne, the answer I like to give them is yet.
Ooh.
Because we have the potential, I won't go into all the details because I know you've spoken about it before, but we're getting the climate,
Yes.
we've got the producers, the vines are now planted, all of the elements are in place. The only thing that they have that we don't have
is the reserves.
is time.
Yeah.
And these guys are just a few years ahead of everybody else, and
Yeah.
look what they're doing.
Yeah.
So
This is interesting, isn't it?
so pleased about that. So for people that are listening, Tori's got the Night Timber Mini, so it's a half bottle. So it's a 375 instead of a 750ml, and we stock this.
Can I
because
just
it's perfect.
say that this little half bottle on the Elizabeth Rose website retails at £20, £20.99.
And do you know what I think these are perfect for?
So good.
Picnics.
Oh,
Picnics.
that's a really
Also,
good idea.
aperitif.
Yeah.
You know, my parents often, they're at home at a weekend, they're not huge drinkers,
Yeah.
they want a little something before dinner.
Yeah.
2 people, glass of
Yeah.
this. It goes a lot further than
It's
you think it
ideal,
does.
actually. Yeah.
So this is done 3 glasses.
And
then-
there's still like half a bottle in there.
Oh my gosh, okay, yeah.
So it's perfect for if you genuinely don't want to crack out, open a huge bottle of
Yeah.
wine
Also,
yourself or something, you know.
That horrifying fact that Moet, that produces, I can't remember how many
Bajillion.
millions
Yeah.
of bottles. What did you say it is? 39?
I think it was like 33 million, yeah, something like that.
No, how much was it in a shop?
Oh, sorry, £39.
£39. And they produce it in the billions.
Ugh.
Yeah.
This, for a full-size bottle in Waitrose, is £39.
Oh, hello, there we go.
I will take this over Moet every
Any
single day.
Yes.
I love this. Night Timber has always been like, you know, like a pinnacle for us.
Yes.
Because that's what we first
Where we
started
started,
drinking.
yeah.
And I really like it personally because I like Chardonnay flavours, and they're always a little bit higher on the Chardonnay side of the blend. And I just think, as you said, they've been doing it for a little bit longer.
Yeah.
They've got great investment. everything to do with night timber is like really nailed down with what
Yeah.
they're trying to do.
It's perfectly balanced, isn't it?
Oh,
Also,
so
it
well
links in
balanced.
very well, kind of unplanned, with Sarah's point about her lovely article that she just wrote for International Women's Day. Is that what it was for?
Yeah, all the women.
All the women. Inspirational women.
The head winemaker at Nightingale.
Oh, of course.
is
Cherie.
Sherry.
Yeah.
Oh my god, her demi-sec.
So good, yeah.
I've still never tried it.
Have you not?
We don't have any.
Oh, I wish we did.
So for those of you that don't know, Sherry, the head winemaker, makes a sparkling called Sherry, and it's a demi-sec, which means it's on the slightly sweeter side.
Lovely,
So
yeah.
it's perfect for those summer
since we had this.
picnics, those afternoon teas, or if you've just got a
Yes.
little bit more of a sweet tooth.
Yeah.
It's delightful. It's the best demi-sec we've ever had. Well, it is.
That's a big statement.
Well, who are you?
I do agree, though. Demi-secs are hard. One, they're hard to come by. You don't see a huge amount of
How
them.
many have we actually had? 2, 3.
And Chet is the other one that I think
Chet's
of.
Still nice. Chet's a
Which
little
other one
bit
did you think of?
sweeter. No,
Yeah.
that's it.
Oh, Car Taylor?
Yes.
Yes.
So we've had 4.
Okay. Oh, well, the Night Timber one for me.
Great. Well,
Yeah.
I'm glad we had this opportunity to taste this wine blind.
I really like this.
And I'm
Really.
glad that you
That
still
was
decided that
fascinating.
you liked it.
Yes.
And that you concluded.
I like this.
But the thing is I know your previous episode was about the differences more so about between champagne and English sparkling wine. But I think what this shows you is that even blind, you recognise this had the quality of a good champagne.
Yes.
I'm not talking about these Moës where there's thousands and millions or bajillions of them.
Yeah.
I'm talking about you tasted this and you went, that's a good wine. That's got some age. That's got rounded acidity.
Yes, definitely.
That's something, because we haven't tasted this in ages, you picked up, oh, that's really well balanced. And I think
that's something my timber always are spot on with.
That we've perhaps forgotten about slightly. They really do balance their wines really well.
And I think you're right, it's because of the reserves.
It's because
isn't
they've
it?
got the reserves.
Yeah. Because
spot on.
Most other
the English wine
sparklings-
revolution is coming. I know we sound like I know we sound like a broken record.
I
I'm
know,
sorry.
I know, we do, but
Can't help
it's
it.
true.
I
I
can't
drink
help
that
it.
all day, every day. That's delicious, isn't it?
Yeah. And at that price, if you want to replace your Moët for it, you can almost afford to.
Yeah.
Or at least every weekend.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Ooh,
let's do a really quick fire,
Go on.
some English wine facts.
Yes.
I think you touched on these previously, but do you know how many commercial vineyards there are in the UK now? Ballpark.
I would guess
700.
commercial. Oh, I was going to say 600. Okay, well, something around there between 500 and 1,000.
Selling wines commercially, I believe, is about 500.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That's still a lot more than I thought. When you think how many people there are out there that still don't even
They're still popping up.
recognise that
Still new
English wine
ones.
is a thing.
And I couldn't name 500 vineyards that are selling wine right now. Like,
Me neither.
there's so
Yeah.
many that are still like
I wonder how many we
flying
could
under the
name.
radar.
And now there's nearly 200 wineries.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's
Didn't you say there's
nice.
only like 200 champagne houses or something like that?
Yes, it
Ooh.
may even be less than that. Yeah. Yes, exactly. No,
And
that's
I'm not,
about
when
right.
I say wineries, I'm not just talking about sparkling in the UK. There is still as well. But
Yes.
in terms of total wineries,
Yeah.
we are catching up.
200, that's a lot, isn't it? Bearing in mind the amount of investment, like
I
of
know.
cash
Yeah.
that needs to go into setting up a winery. Like,
Yeah.
I think that they all have to come over from different countries. Like, that's a lot of money that people have invested into the wine industry.
mhm.
Mm.
So, in
Interesting.
terms of counties that are planted with vines,
Oh, okay, yeah.
the top one is Kent,
Yeah.
probably unsurprisingly to most people.
Yeah.
Where do you think Essex sits on the map?
Surely it's up there.
I'd say top 5.
Fifth.
Oh, well done.
Fifth. And again, I feel like it's so underrated. People outside of Essex
Yeah.
will talk to you about English wine and
Yeah.
they'll say Hampshire, they'll say
Yeah.
Sussex, they'll say Kent.
Yeah.
You say Essex to them and they go, oh, really?
Yeah, I know.
They're like, no.
Yeah, only the best is in Essex.
So then moving on to our next selection of glasses that you've got in front of
Okay.
you.
Yes.
So these are numbered 1 and 2.
Okay.
We have 2 still wines
They look
Okay.
to move on to.
Can I say? Like, mine.
They are both that beautiful
Gold.
golden hue. They've almost got like a kind of like
Look at us, what do you
greenish,
think?
kind of greenish goldish hue to
Yeah,
them.
there's a little bit of a green
Oh.
tinge in there. So maybe more this one. Maybe I'm over analysing.
Um,
Help me!
Don't tell me we're doing Sauvignon Bacchus.
I will not say anything, but no.
Oh, okay.
So
Trying to get ahead of the
we've
game.
talked about sparkling,
Yes,
but
yes.
30% of production in the UK is still wine. So let's not
30%.
forget about it.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not telling you where these wines are from. They might be English. They might be Australian. They might be American.
Oh,
They
shit.
might be Old World. They might be New World.
Oh, for God's
They might
sake,
both be.
Tori.
They might both not be English. They might both be English. We'll just have to have a go.
Oh, we're never going to get
Freaking
this.
out.
I say that, that's we're never. I definitely.
You got Night Timber Spon.
Well, I've eaten a lot of
She did.
spicy
Come
foods
on.
in my life. My palate's like, it's white wine.
I don't know if that's a thing. But
Listen, it's my thing, okay? If I want to use it as an excuse for my shit palate, I'm
I've
going
never
to.
heard that before.
can
I
I,
love
just
that.
say, the point of this is not about guessing where they're from.
No, it is now.
I knew she would get competitive. If someone was going to get competitive, it was going to be this one.
She
Pinot
started straight in.
Gris. No.
So-
Yes, Becky, let's be methodical.
It's not about where they're from. It's about tasting these wines
Okay.
and working out what we think and giving you. Have you done blind tasting before?
Not really, no.
And it really makes you think about
Yeah,
wine in a
yeah.
different way when you haven't made that preconception of, oh, I like the bottle,
This is a
or I
Chardonnay.
don't like the bottle, or I don't like that region, or I don't like that
This is
producer.
French. This is
I don't
Burgundy.
know. Is it? You can't guess now. We have to talk about them
Sorry.
first, Becky.
So this is fun, Becky.
I feel like-
This isn't a
I feel like you
competition. This smells like Wild Boy.
Can you tell who's the businesswoman
Oh,
here?
does
Yeah, I
Does it?
think this smells like Wild Boy.
Wild Boy. For those of you,
Wild Boy.
Wild Boy is a Chardonnay from Santa Barbara
Yeah.
County.
So it is Californian, but
It's-
the way that
Oh,
they
wow.
make it,
I'm not saying it's Wild Boy. She's just making assumptions here.
the way that they make it is very French vibey, isn't it? So they use like French barrels, they use that French.
So you're getting
clothing.
French vibes, but you don't think it's French. Are you on about 1 or 2?
Two.
Two is
Two.
definitely Chardonnay.
It might be French. It might be French.
I think one of
Okay,
these
let's
has to
take
be-
a vote now.
One of these has to be
what-
English, doesn't
Well,
it?
let's make this a competition. Becky wants to compete.
Um, but okay.
Wine number 1. What's the grape? Oh, taste, people, taste. I'm
Oh.
sorry, I'm just letting you sniff rather than actually have a good old swig. So we're tasting wine number 1.
Oh, wine number 1. Zesty. It goes
Mm.
to the back of my mouth.
I get like a buttery creaminess along with like
It's nice, yeah.
citrusy. Oh, and then the finish
This is really good.
just develops and
Yeah, when I keep
changes.
tasting
And I'm so excited that this is
Okay,
showing this
They
well.
are Chardonnay. Are they
You
not?
think they're both Chardonnay?
Oh, yeah, I do.
Becky?
I think that, yeah. I said 1 was a Chardonnay first, and then I said 2 was a Wild Boy. 1 maybe.
Is Wild Boy a Chardonnay?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it
Oh.
is.
So I think
Yeah.
maybe 1 isn't oaked, 2 is. Maybe that's the difference. Ooh, what's her thought process
one
here?
is oaked, is it not?
No, that could be like a French unoaked.
So they are both Chardonnay.
They're both Chardonnay.
See, guys, trust your palate.
Yeah, that's the thing. You should go for the first thing that comes into your head, shouldn't you?
So they are.
2 feels like a really obvious Chardonnay, like it jumps out of the glass
2
Chardonnay.
tastes like a Wild Boy.
Is that what you're like going to pinpoint it?
Interesting.
I
So
don't know.
I tasted these wines when I poured them. I mean, that was only half an hour ago,
Yeah.
and they tasted completely different.
Really?
This number
Okay.
2
Yeah.
has come alive since I poured it.
Right.
When I first tasted them, I was so pleased
I
with
really
how
need to
number
know
1
what they
was
are.
tasting because I haven't tasted it for a while, and I was like, it's great. And then I tasted number 2, and I was a bit disappointed because I had tried this before as well, and I was like, that's great. And then But now this tastes great, and that still tastes great, but
Two's come
Yeah.
alive. Now
it's
I think
really come
now
alive.
I'm, trying to get into Tori's mind.
Don't see, she's too competitive. Stop
know.
ruining it for everybody.
I know Tori likes an Essex Chardonnay because we
Mm.
tasted together. What did we taste? We tasted Chapel Down, Kit's Coty. We tasted the Crouch Valley Chardonnay. Very nice, very nice. I'm trying to look for
Crouch Valley
any
Chardonnay.
shades
Which
of
one?
Any like twitch of an eyebrow.
which one from Crouch Valley?
Lime Bay, did you try that?
What's it called? With the gold river going through it. It's on the label.
Riverview.
Is it?
I think it's Riverview.
Oh, okay. Maybe it's Riverview.
Oh, you brought Riverview.
Oh my god, these two are too good. I'm just gonna go home
That's
now.
number one,
No,
though.
it's Becky.
That's number one, isn't it?
So
Is
number one
It's Riverview.
is
It's an Essex Chardonnay.
Wow. Becky, that's 2 out of 2.
So I'm definitely get. It's not Wild Boy then, is it? 'Cause I can't get 3 out of 3. You're gonna have to. You gotta help me here.
I'm gonna keep
Chardonnay's
this
not
one
my
for me
thing.
now. Sorry, Becky, I'm just climbing over your sofa.
So no, it's fine. So the other one. Could
So
be
for those of
something
you
beautiful.
who are listening, I have just revealed that number one was
Yes.
indeed the river. Shall we do a
Riverview.
little
I love
close
the
up?
Riverview.
Was the beautiful, look at that bottle,
Mm.
Riverview
so
Chardonnay.
It's an Essex Chard right there.
So it is from Essex. It's from Crouch Valley, which
Yeah.
I believe you guys went into beautiful detail about when you tried it. The Martin's Lane
Yes.
Blanc de Noir.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
So quick information about Riverview.
Mm.
They are the new kid on the English wine block.
Not that you know it from this. Like this is bloody brilliant.
Definitely not. And I
Oh.
chose it because I know that these two love this wine.
Mm.
Tori, you have outdone yourself.
We
Even
tried
two
it.
out of 3. Nye Timber Classic Cuvée and Riverview Chardonnay. Like
So we tried this last year.
Spot on.
I'm done.
Yeah, this is like your ideal tasting so far,
This
isn't
is the
it?
only stuff I know. Thanks, Tori.
You're welcome anytime, guys. We went to the Wine GB tasting together last year,
Mm.
Yeah.
and Katie and Umit were there displaying this wine, and it was their debut. It was the first time they'd ever taken this wine out in public.
Aw.
And so many people came back, didn't they, saying
Yeah.
it was the wine of the day.
Mm-hmm. We
Um,
certainly thought so.
So this isn't oaked.
it is.
Yeah.
It is.
It is creamy.
Definitely oak.
Creamy.
But they use old oak,
Okay.
I believe.
So like a
Yeah.
really soft.
So it's
Yeah.
9 months in
Oaking,
old
yeah.
oak, so you're not gonna get that super toastiness.
So even
You're gonna get that
people-
just that gentle, creamy kind of
Yeah.
buttery thing going
So I
on.
know quite a lot of
So
people
is this new oak?
that would go, I don't like Chardonnay, and I definitely don't like oak.
Yeah.
So actually, I think
Oh,
even those people,
I was that
wouldn't-
person.
would enjoy this.
I was
Yeah.
that person.
I'm
So
that
ABC,
person.
isn't it? Anything
So
with
if you
Chardonnay.
think like really fine wine burgundies, like the
Mm.
Pouligny Montrachet,
Just think
Chassagne
about that for a
Montrachet,
minute.
they go sort of savoury and
Yeah.
nutty, and
Yes.
that's what I think a lot of people don't like.
Oh.
And then once you like it, you love it.
Ah, that's all you
That's
can
so
get.
funny.
Yeah.
So what they do with this is a very French method, really. They use
Mm.
batonnage,
Yeah.
which is where they stir the lees, which is,
Mhm.
the really sexy dead yeast. Yum, I know. But it gives it that
Batonnage
creaminess.
sounds
When
better,
you say it
doesn't
like
it?
Stir the dead stir the dead
Hello.
yeast, love. How much do I have? Dead yeast.
Have another glass, love, you'll be
Yeah.
fine.
Somebody help me.
So that's what gives it this beautiful creaminess. And you know what you were
It
saying?
smells like pudding to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were saying before that you
Crumble.
felt so privileged to have these English wines
Yeah.
because they're such small
Oh, God.
production.
How many do they make of this?
There's only 950 bottles
Can we call
of
them
this
later?
wine.
At least 12 of those need to be in my wine fridge that you saw earlier.
I know.
Like, it's bloody sparks. It's disgraceful. Yeah.
Only 950 bottles.
Yeah. So let's put that into perspective.
How many have they got left? Because I feel like I need them.
So this is their
Okay.
2020 vintage. It is the first one that they've ever released. They do have
Love it.
sparkling and red in the pipelines.
Do they?
They will be coming soon, I believe, and I'm so excited to try
need a
them
trip.
because if they're anywhere near as good as this, we are in for a treat.
Yeah.
I'm going to call them on Monday.
I'm going to call them right now.
I've got the business card in my bag. You can have it later.
Yes, please.
So they are in the lovely Crouch Valley, in that perfect little microclimate,
Yeah.
producing bloody fantastic wine.
Yes.
It's flawless,
950
isn't it?
bottles. Okay, do you know roughly the RRP on this?
£36.
Oh,
For
beautiful.
950 bottles, imagine you would pay at least £36 for a brilliant Chardonnay.
From anywhere else.
Yeah, exactly.
Even America, the good ones, like the Wild Boy you were talking about, that retails about 22, 23.
Yeah.
And that's for the entry-level Wild Boy. And then as you go up to the Au Bon Climat Chardonnay, that is more closer to 30.
Yeah.
And then if you're looking at their premium vineyards, which would be the smaller production, still way more than this. The smaller production, probably more around that 35 to 40 mark. So the fact that you can get this for this price, I think it's amazing.
There's a really bizarre
Maybe
thing.
I'm biased because I knew what it was, but you guys loved it before we knew what it was.
There's a weird thing going on in English wine where like the quality is such that it would easily compete with like really high ticket wines globally, and yet they feel they need to keep the price down to get more people to try it.
Yeah.
And I feel like, guys, soon
clap for yourself.
Like soon these prices are going to go up. Now I'm speaking to the customers, like get them while you can, because at some point the rest of the world is going to clock on. We're going to be exporting like mad, and like it's going to be really difficult,
especially when, like you said, these Burgundy prices are going to
the
skyrocket.
roof.
Are you seeing that already? Like prices like going up and up?
I mean, everything's gone up slightly, but because of everything else in life is going up slightly at the moment, I don't think people are noticing quite so much. But I think when the next vintage comes onto the retail shelves,
that's gonna be
you're gonna see it, because it's been a few years in a row now that they've had frost in Burgundy, and the levels are getting really low. And what I found was really interesting was the point that you made, is the fact that once they skyrocket, they're not going to come back down.
100%. Yeah. Susie and Peter asked people when they were talking about it on the Wine Blast podcast, and they were like, "No, this is the price for Burgundy, and that's going to be it." Once it goes up.
Okay, so idea coming out of my head straight away: should we create like a syndicate to buy big in Burgundy and Essex, store it, sell it?
Yeah.
Do you know what I saw?
Wine investment.
And then, well, do you know what? It's really difficult. I find it really difficult to hold on to wine for a long period of time.
I just drink it.
Yeah, exactly. No, I do. It's really bad. Like I have like a month where I've already spent all my money, so I'm like, well, I'll just drink all the wine that I spent all my money on then.
But also, it's important to, if you do want to buy wine like that and store it, please make sure you do your research about your storage conditions.
That's a good point.
One, because if you want to drink it and you haven't stored it well, it's going to taste vile.
Yeah.
And two, if you want to keep it and sell it on as an investment, because these prices are going to skyrocket, if you don't have evidence of the fact that it's been stored correctly, you will not be able to sell it. So there are lots of companies out there that do specific wine storage, and then you'll get certificates and everything for how it's being kept and monitored, etc. So
I've still got in my wine fridge the White Castle 2018 Pinot Noir and the White Castle 2019.
Oh, do you?
Noir.
Oh, nice.
I've got both. And
when are we having a tasting party?
Yeah,
next week.
Let's do. It keeps
Come back.
It keeps coming across my mind that I'm going to sell them as a pair.
Oh, that's a nice idea.
But also much drink them.
Drink them as a pair.
That sounds better to me.
The longest I held a wine for was like 4 years.
Yeah,
we
well
drank
done.
it last night.
Was it good?
And that's, it was really good.
Great.
And that's how I know it was 4 years, because usually it doesn't get that long. And we were like, oh, so this was a whatever vintage, and when did we go there? Because we bought it when we were there. And, okay, yeah. I'm like, God, we're good. We just forgot about it, to be fair.
Okay, so let's divert quickly, because poor wine number 2 is sat here being neglected. So we've concluded that wine number 1 is a beautiful buttery Chardonnay.
Wonderful.
We already know that wine number 2 is a Chardonnay.
Okay.
It's not English.
Perhaps not.
Does it have similarities to number 1?
It does.
I think it still has that citrusy note.
It's lovely. Like, this for me is quite a comfort wine. Like, and we've got the fire on. It's a bit of a gloomy day. This for me is the kind of wine that I would like.
It doesn't challenge me.
100%. I get more oak
Yes.
from this.
Oh, it's quite
Yeah.
oak bomb, actually.
But
Yeah.
I
which
actually
wouldn't be
don't
everyone's flavour.
know if the oak is overly well integrated. I almost feel
Ooh,
like it needs
interesting.
more time,
Yeah.
because I feel like you
Too
get the
oaky.
fruit and then you get the oak and
Yeah.
then you get the finish. Whereas the Riverview, even though it's so young, it's only 2020, it somehow
Yeah.
blends very seamlessly together.
Yes. So is it?
Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that this isn't good wine. Definitely, like, it's beautiful, and this is Becky's preference.
Oh, you need
usually
to-
is
you
something
need to
more
identify
oaky.
it.
Oh god.
Come on, 3 out of 3.
Oh, God.
No.
I don't know though, because I think
Tell us your
because
strain
it's-
of thought, because
because
that's
it's
how you got
so-
there with the other two.
Yeah.
Just
because
keep
it's so
talking.
oaky, I think I'm not thinking it's French.
Mm-hmm.
There are some places in France that do this right.
Oh, okay. And France is really where you would normally.
Yeah, that's
So you said the American one.
yes. So they do it on like a French vibe, but it is still American Chardonnay. But the one before, the Riverview, that's more French vibey. That's more what I would drink that was from France, and obviously Essex.
That more subtle,
This
creamy old oak
this
kind of
has
thing.
more. I'm not saying it is, but it
More
has
of
a
a
bit
new
more
oak
of a
vibe
new
to it.
world vibe.
Yeah.
Like it could be Californian or
Australian,
maybe
perhaps.
Australian, but I don't remember the last time I drank an Australian
Oh.
Chardonnay, so I don't know. There are a few places in France that do like big oaky shards like this, but I'm not sure they're well known for it. So that's why I'm thinking Tory.
Do you want a clue?
Yes.
Go on.
I don't know if it actually helps very much, but this is the same price as the Riverview.
Okay.
36.
So it's 35
35.
actually.
35. It doesn't help.
Doesn't help.
It might be English. Maybe we're like way off here.
Okay, take a guess and I'm going to reveal what it is.
Oh my god.
Just guess a country or a region or even a producer if you feel that wild.
I'm going to go America. I'm going to just because that's what I thought straight away. So I'm going to go Californian.
Do a little ASMR. So she's guessed California.
Yeah, I'm just going to go Californian. Oh.
Becky?
Oh,
Sarah, sorry.
I don't know.
No wrong
okay.
answers,
Well,
guys.
I
Come
said
on.
Australia, so
Yeah. Oh,
let's just stick with that.
It's French, isn't
It is a white Burgundy.
Oh,
Wow.
So we have a bottle from Saint Romain,
Wow.
which is
So
a
sorry,
little
Mr. France.
village
Yeah.
in
Oh.
Burgundy,
Ah,
but a probably not very well known village.
well, there's no back label to this wine, which tells me it's a good wine. Because the least you have to explain yourself, the better you are.
That's such a French opinion.
It is,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like, fuck you.
The French
In
really
French. Whatever that is.
Merde. The French really annoy me when they do this because they don't tell you it's oaked. They don't even tell you the grape. I don't think it even says Burgundy on there. I think it just
the
says,
wine.
oh, it does.
Yeah.
Sometimes they don't even put that. They'll just put Saint Romain and expect you to know where that is.
Yeah.
But it is a beautiful wine. I
It's
think
so
it's
nice.
drinking really well.
Mm.
But like I said, those profiles are all there, but I reckon it needs another year or two in bottle to fully
Interesting.
integrate.
I mean, I'd buy that for 35.
It is a 2019, so it is 1 year older
Yeah.
than
Oh, so funny
the
how
Riverview.
the smell of one affects the smell of another, or the taste of one affects the taste of another. Because I picked
I wouldn't know because I've drunk all mine.
The bottles are there, Becky, help yourself.
I will.
I picked the Burgundy
Look,
up.
I've done a
first.
classic you, the presenter never drinks.
You don't get a chance though, do you?
Right, you can talk, I'm going to sip now.
Yeah.
I picked up the Burgundy first, and I really loved how it smelled. And then
Yeah.
when I picked up the English,
You're like,
I was a little bit
actually-
confused. I was like, hang on a minute. Like, it clearly had a lot more complexity to it in my eyes, and still does. But I preferred on first sniff, after having this one first, the Burgundy first, I preferred the smell of the Burgundy. Like, that was the one that I was like, yeah. And then when we tasted number one, I really got into it, and like I just kept going and going and going, and I kept wanting to go back. it really drew me in. I think partly because of the complexity and, like you mentioned, the balance is there with the oak. The use of oak is perfectly well balanced. So really enjoyed that. But then when I picked this up again, back to the Burgundy, I'm like, that is now like smack you in the face oak.
Because you're comparing it to the other.
I actually almost think it's too much.
Which I think that's the reason why neither of us identified it as a Burgundy, because you would expect a Burgundy to have a lot more like well integrated oak.
But is that because it's been airing, you know, getting all that oxygen in?
If anything, it should be more rounded because we've left it to air.
True,
And then when I
someone
go back
go get the decanter.
Yeah, I know. My God,
we'll film another episode.
Not to do that. Then when I go back to the English again, I'm once again drawn in by like the complexity of it.
But that's because the English is more your style anyway.
That's true. That is true.
If you were in a restaurant, you would, or if you
maybe with food, the Burgundy would stand up better.
Yeah, potentially.
I think I prefer the smell of the second one.
That's so interesting.
Because of it jumps out. It's got that oak, it's got all the layers, and it teases you, and it's like, I'm here.
Yeah.
But I prefer to drink the Riverview, the first
I
one.
100% agree, and that completely
because
aligns
it's just
with
like,
my first impressions of them.
It's I don't like this word because I think it often comes across quite negatively, but I think the Riverview is easier in the fact that I could just sit down right here in front of this fire and drink it.
That's so interesting.
Very happily.
But that has to be your personal tastes as well, though, doesn't it? Because you will always happily sip something.
They're both wonderful wines that I'd happily drink.
And they're more into, you know, obviously you drink Chardonnay now, but your whole preference is towards like a lighter, delicate,
lighter oak touch.
Yeah, like you like a gentler Chardonnay than a big bam.
It's very true.
Here, so naturally you're going to go towards one than the other. Like that's just who you
are. They're both
There's
beautiful wines. They're both beautiful wines, and to be honest, I'd quite happily drink either of them. So.
I think you are completely correct in saying the French has more potential to age. I would lay that French down for 2, 3, 5 years, and I'd still be really confident it was still going to come out that bottle going, I know who I am.
Yeah.
But that
so
English potentially doesn't have quite as long. I'd say like 2 years, and that would still taste
I think it would because it's got quite a high citrus note to it that I think would mellow over years of.
I would be very interested to see.
I don't know without. That's an interesting.
I'd be very interested to see how it developed.
Yeah.
And this is a whole nother conversation, maybe for another episode. But the French is cork and the English is screw cap.
My personal preference is always cork. I don't know what
it's the celebration.
It's just the theatre of it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I need to screw it in. I need to hear the pop. And if I hear a screw, I'm like,
Yeah.
But that's only because I'm taught that, you know, supermarket wine makes that sound. And wine merchant wine makes another sound or whatever.
This is a dangerous conversation to enter. We could talk about this for hours. Next time. Let me just give you a really quick rundown. So wine number 1, Riverview from Crouch Valley in Essex, £36. Wine number 2, 2019, Saint Romain by Camille Giroud. 35 trying. Apologies if it's incorrect. £35, so almost exactly the same price. They are what the French like to call a négociant. So they actually have very few vines themselves. They buy their grapes in a bit like the champagne style.
So what does that mean?
The wine number 3 that I was going to show you today before I went rogue with the Nightingale was also kind of an English style of négociant. They make the wines, Lime Bay. They make the wines, but source them from around. Yeah. And you know, it's like there is a bit of prejudice around it of like, does that mean that's lesser quality? Not necessarily. Sometimes it actually gives people more option to only take the grapes where they're best that year.
Interesting.
So they're actually now Camille Giroud is actually now owned by a really big company that have wines all over the place, including in California. But it's a great wine. I think it's called Sud de Chateau or something like that.
What, south of the chateau?
Yeah, Sous le Chateau.
So what does
which
that mean?
It's
Sous chef is under chef, isn't it?
in Saint-Gobain, they have a castle on the hill,
Under
and
wine,
it's
like-
just below.
Yeah,
It's just
below.
down. It's not actually where they make the wine. It is like a historic castle, I believe,
Yeah.
but it's just down from the castle.
Yeah. And I think because sous chef means I think under chef,
Yes.
like second chef type, you know.
Under the castle.
So I think maybe under the castle, or
So that's quite French
So,
romance for you.
Riverview. So Night Timber you can buy from us. Riverview you can't at this present moment.
Till next
but
week, maybe.
maybe soon. I know you can buy it direct from them. Where would we buy?
I don't think you can actually.
Oh, what, from Riverview?
No.
Oh, they don't do their distribution themselves.
LBW drinks, we can get it from Lime Bay.
Oh,
That's what it says
They
on the label.
make so they don't have their own winery yet, so they're
make
making
it
it at Lime Bay.
oh.
So they're making it in Devon.
What you got looking around the warehouse? And then
Beautiful.
the French
The French is 36.
from Berry Bros.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
So,
And the Riverview is available from Highbury Vintners.
okay.
Okay.
Oh, that's good to know.
Okay.
So they're a tiny little independent wine shop in London, but they do ship all over the country, so you can
buy
get
online,
that there.
can't you,
Yeah.
from them? Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
everyone can buy.
But it might be available soon from Elizabeth Rose.
Yeah, we can hope if they've got any left.
Yes, there is a
Yeah.
very small selection, so they might not have any, but we're definitely going to investigate their reds when they come out and their
Mhm.
sparklings, please.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
100%.
So, favourite of the day then out of all three, Tori?
Oh, call me basic, but the Nightingale.
That's not basic. There's no
I
way.
think
There's no way
it's
basic.
just. I don't know why as well. There's something about the half bottles for me that always serve better than the full size
Oh,
ones. They
that's so
always seem to have more
interesting.
complexity. That's not why I chose
Wow.
it.
What are your views on magnums then? Because a lot of places do.
So they age better,
Better,
but
yeah.
I guess they probably age slower.
Yes.
So maybe that's why I prefer the halves, because
Mhm.
they've
Yeah,
aged
that
quicker.
age, yeah.
Okay.
Maybe.
In a shorter amount of
Um,
time. That's a really good point.
I think it's a dream, and it's like I actually tried one of theirs the other day. I think it was the multi vintage, but it was like the 2010 release or
That's
something
a really
like
good
that.
one.
You do know the one I'm
That was the
talking
first
about.
one we drank, the 2010 vintage.
I tried that in a Magnum the other day.
Oh, really?
Oh
I've
my
never tried
god,
that
it was
before.
beautiful. And I don't know what it is about Nightingale. There is something in it. There's just this really distinctive
Yeah.
smell / taste, which is perhaps why you knew
Actually
that it was
identified
Nightingale.
yeah.
There's just I can't put my finger on it. It's not like I can be like, oh yeah, it's lemon sherbet or it's the cream or the
Nightingale.
toast. There's
Yeah.
just something in its roundness on the nose that when you get a good bottle, it's just immediately you're like,
That's Sherry's
that's
magic, isn't it?
that's Sherry's wine.
Yeah.
And also, I would recommend for people that are interested in Nightingale as a brand to try their other, like
Yes.
obviously we talked about the demi-sec, but to try their 1086. To try
Oh
their
gosh, yes.
Tillington is my favourite.
Tillington. They've
Their
got another as well. haven't they?
1086 is their
Blanc de Blanc.
prestige.
Yes. Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
obviously-
Is their prestige premium wine.
Yeah.
It comes at a cost, but if you ever get
Not
the
as much as
opportunity
Dom
to
Perignon.
try it, do, because
Mm.
it's phenomenal.
I honestly think.
I just got a little butter bomb from this Riverview.
I think their premium wines
Going in for more.
are
Go
worth
for it.
the premium. Like there are some wines that you're like, oh, this is the premium, so I need to like it. Do you ever get that? Like, I've spent so much money on this. It's like that cognitive dissonance, isn't it?
Oh,
Where
yeah.
You're like, I have to like.
That's
this.
why it's so important and so interesting to do
Good
tastings like this.
Yeah.
Because I could have given you a wine that was £10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That last
true.
one, for a moment, you were like, God, is this a £10 Australian wine? And I'm being mugged off.
I didn't think it was ever going to be a cheap wine. I was thinking
But I
Wild
could have
Boy,
done.
Yeah. Oban
I
Wine.
tried to
I could
pick
have believed
things.
it was Waitrose.
I tried to pick
No.
Yeah, I
things.
could have. I could have.
Hurts my soul.
I tried to pick things that were relatively like along the same kind of price point, so that we had
Yeah, no,
a
that's
fair representation of
Definitely.
what you can get for your money in
100%.
different places.
That's so important.
Do you know a little bit of this French wine reminds me same sort of vibes as Davies do a white Burgundy, and this has similar. It's not obviously exactly the same, but it has similar vibes.
Davies.
Yeah, Davies Wine Merchants.
Okay.
They do they brand their own.
They're near Pall Mall, aren't they?
And that has a similar vibe. That's what it's
interesting.
reminding me of. If people wanted to try something similar but not the same. But,
I'm just having a little moment with my wine here.
So
Which
your
one?
favourite was the
Been on
Night
the Riverview.
Timber.
She's on the Riverview. But
What's your favourite?
Oh golly, I really love them all, but I think that's because Chardonnay is my thing, and these
100%.
are all obviously Chardonnay.
That was
dominant.
unintentional. The fact that I picked a wine that I knew you both loved in the Riverview was maybe
Yeah.
slightly intentional. But the fact that you love Chardonnay, I actually kind of didn't pick up on that.
Yeah. So I think I would drink them all, and I'd pay that price every single day for all of these because I genuinely think they're worth it. I would take the Riverview to a dinner party because I like to explain the wine that I'm taking. At home on my own, I would drink the French on my own. Because only saying that because David, I think, likes a little bit. He would
A little
go
bit more
along with
subtle.
me. But he likes it a little bit subtler, if we're being honest with ourselves. He's not just trying to please me. I think he would go Riverview. But the half bottle, I'm like drawing a line under half bottle.
Oh, interesting.
Is I think we forget about them.
Interesting.
So to conclude, what
The
is my
thing is,
favourite?
sorry to
Probably
interrupt.
French.
Oh.
Personally, if I was on my own, not thinking about anything else, just like indulging.
The thing is because it's a half bottle, you can have that and then the other one.
There you go.
That's the whole point, no? You can have your glass of fizz. You can have your glass of fizz and still have this is often my problem, is if it's just two of you, or even on your own, you're like, I really want like a little glass of fizz to start with, and then I want something big and bold. Like maybe it's you're having steak and you want a big bold red to go with your meal, but you're like, I don't want to open a bottle of white just to have a glass and then drink the red. So it means you can have your aperitif and then enjoy your big Chardonnay or your big red wine with your food.
Yeah.
Love a half bottle. Singing for the half bottles over here.
I used to live on my own, and I used to love a half bottle because I would open a bottle, be like, lovely, lovely, and then I would go, like I'm done. You know, you get like a glass, 2 glasses in, you're like, I've satisfied the need. And then I'd go, I don't really drink during the week because like I get up early, go to bed, like whatever, and I just don't really feel the need for it. But on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then if I'm like leaving it from a Sunday to a Friday, I'm like, it's
I see what you mean.
So half bottle when you're
I
living
do
on
know.
your own, or you just want to
I
be
have
a bit
that
smaller.
problem. I have that problem with reds when I'm at home with my parents. When I go to them, they don't really drink red.
Right.
So I'll open a red
flavor.
just for me because we'll be having a meal that calls for red. They might have a glass. I'll have a glass or two, and then that sort of last like third of a bottle just sits on the side and just doesn't get drunk, especially in the summer. If you've opened something because you need it to go with the food, and then you don't feel like just having a glass of red wine, and it just sits there. So you're like, what am I going to do with it now?
In the summer, I more go for a real heavy white than a red because I know I won't finish the red, and I'm like, well, at least I'll get something more from this heavy white than I would the lighter red because I'm just not going to finish it. So.
Interesting.
So what's your favourite, Sarah?
Like the Riverview, 100%. It's the only one I finished and then refilled.
So there's one of each.
There is.
That's good,
Yeah, that is good. What a good
Well
conclusion.
done. Well done.
And I think that shows
something for everyone.
Wine is so personal.
It is. It's really individual, isn't it? Everyone has their own preference, and embrace yours.
Definitely. Who cares what you prefer?
Wonderful.
So, what a mystery tour of wines that was.
Yes, thank you so
You're
much.
very welcome. I had a great time.
Excuse me, oh my goodness. If you enjoyed watching or listening along, then please subscribe. We would love you to follow along our future experiments and ventures and explorations into English wine. Please also subscribe to our YouTube channel and head over to our Instagram page at Elizabeth Rose Wines, where we've got a competition running at the moment. So you've got a chance to win a bottle of mystery wine.
I was going to say, don't say, that's the whole thing.
You're going to have to go to the post to find out. But yeah, that's all from us for this week. It's my turn next time, so pressure's on. But have a good week and enjoy your English wine.
Cheers, girls.
Cheers.
Thank you, Tori. Cheers.
Cheers.